Welcome back to this special edition of Hannity, the Trump Agenda. Speaking at the Obama Foundation this week, former President Obama took a thinly veiled swipe at President Trump, saying America's progress is hindered by, quote, hate, anger, racism, and mommy issues. You can't make this stuff up. Take a look.
The reason we don't do it is because we are still confused, blind, shrouded with hate, anger, racism, mommy issues.
In a 2014 interview with former President Bush, Hannity asked him why he consistently refused to criticize his successors. Take a look at his response.
Why did you make the decision? I mean, I could sit here all day and try and get you to comment on President Obama, and I'm not going to get anywhere.
Correct.
Because I've known you. I know you very well.
Yes, you do.
Why did you make that decision? Because I'm sure you have a lot to say. We've talked politics before we came in here. You're very engaged and aware of what's going on.
I'm very aware of what's going on. I don't think it's good for the country to have a former president undermine a current president. I think it's bad for the presidency, for that matter.
And joining me now with reaction, Salem radio talk show host Larry Elder and former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors to President Obama, Austan Goolsbee. Good evening, gentlemen. You know, it is rather shocking that a president would come out and criticize a president the way we've seen President Obama do it. So I am going to start with you, Austan. You know, there's a book, The President's Club, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and it documents the unique relationship between presidents where, you know, the sitting president will have communications with foreign presidents because their experience is so unique, having shared the Oval Office and those incredible decisions and burdens that they carry. And so there is a relationship that they have. But President Obama, from the last week or two that he, you know, of the race, he took every day to go out and campaign against Donald Trump. He did it in the midterms. It's unheard of. Is it good for the country, as George Bush just said?
Well, I think he kind of makes two things. I think for sure, it's Thanksgiving's tomorrow. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, let's hope that everyone tones down the kind of personal rhetoric and to refer to mommy issues. I think stuff like that is beyond bounds. Now,
well, and Austin, what would people say if I referred to President Obama as having mommy issues or daddy issues?
Yeah, but now wait, Judge. The thing is, you know that this is in the context of the President of the United States now saying some outrageous things about both President Obama.
What is he responding to?
Well, for example, President Trump calling President Obama the most ignorant president in the history of America.
And when did he do that?
President Obama was not born in this country.
Well,
there's a long list.
But the birther is a separate issue from years ago.
Outrageous things about the president.
Oh, come on. Oh, so you're saying he's justified in continuing the narrative?
No, he's not justified. I'm not, Judge. I'm not saying he's justified. He shouldn't do that. I respected George Bush's approach. I think that's the approach President Obama should take. Vice President Cheney was much more aggressive and negative about the Obama administration for the entire time.
Well,
and I respected George Bush's approach more.
Okay. So I'll go to you. Let me go to you, Larry. What say you?
We're talking about presidents, not vice presidents. And Obama undid the signature achievement of George W. Bush, and that was the war in Iraq. When George Bush left office, he assumed that there was going to be a stay-behind force of between 5,000 or 10,000 troops, had predicted what would happen if there was a vacuum. Obama comes in, pulls out every single troop, and George W. Bush didn't say one word as things got worse in Iraq as he predicted. It is certainly true that Vice President Dick Cheney said something, but George W. Bush didn't say a word. Ronald Reagan retires. He goes to Simi Valley, doesn't say a word. George Herbert Walker Bush goes to Kennebunkport, doesn't say a word. George W. Bush goes to Crawford, Texas, doesn't say a word. Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama never stopped talking. A very different perspective, Republican versus Democrat ex-presidents.
And you know what, Austin, he may have a point. It seems to be the Democrats coming out to, and I have to say,
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I don't think that that's quite accurate. The only thing I'll say
what
is
wasn't accurate?
Donald Trump is in the sense that Barack Obama did not mention President Trump by name. Now, President Trump, nobody in the country wants to take a lesson in appropriateness and lack of insult, the reasons not to insult people, from President Trump. He campaigned, his entire campaign was built on personal insults of his opponents and speaking about the extreme stupidity of everyone in the government.
But that's not the issue, Austin, with all due respect. That's not the issue we're talking about. We're talking about a president who comes out during midterms and during his the end of his office to continually attack the president of the United States. And, and that is the issue.
Is something different.
Yeah, but now he's not campaigning. It's after the midterms, Austin. I'm going to give you the last word, Larry Elder.
Well, okay, I'm going to say, Austin, if it makes you any happier, Austin, when President Trump retires in January of 2025 with his 50 million Twitter followers, he will probably have a thing or two to say about his successor.
Well, we'll see about that.
True. But happy Thanksgiving, guys. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, gentlemen, to both of you.
You too.
All right.